Before I call the meeting to order, is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to anything that's on the agenda? Okay, we will continue. Go ahead and call the Budget Committee meeting to order. We do have a set of minutes for October the 16th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Missing the mayor and Tommy.
Oh, we are, aren't we? Whoops.
Okay, so we only need 3 of us?
Can we go? We gotta go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going now.
As long as y'all all get along.
No guarantees there.
No.
Uh,
Let's see. Is this
Okay,
tonight's volume?
It is. Yes, sir.
I'm glad to see it's not too.
It's not much.
Yeah.
There's no finance report in your packet tonight. That'll be on your desk at the county commission meeting. The last item before new business, the health department grant amendment, you can strike that. That is not needed. All that was a movement of money on an existing grant that had already been approved. Some of that money was moved to fiscal year '24, but it was already in the budget, so nothing really to do there.
Okay.
First one that we have in the packet is for animal control. They're requesting funds for animal control to purchase a new truck and fiberglass truck mounted AC controlled boxes for the trucks. They're also all that's coming out of capital projects. And then they're requesting a little money out of the general fund for travel.
Okay, well, let me say something about that one. This was a little bit different from the budget amendment request from last month that that was not approved. This one's a little bit different. They're asking for a little bit less money, but after listening to everything that's going on with these vehicles and equipment, this is kind of critical for us to go ahead and approve. So I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Can you do the motion? I'll do the motion.
Okay. Motion second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, let me make sure I understand this. This is a little bit different. I just now noticed it. This will actually be an appropriation from the capital projects fund and the general fund balance.
Yes, sir, that's what we
And do it in one.
We did it all in one, yes, sir.
One resolution. Yes. Good. I like the way you done it. Okay, that's all I had. Questions?
Second one's for the circuit court clerk. She's requesting $50,000 out of her reserve account to help pay for her record storage fees. And she's also requesting money out of her data fee account for new computers.
Motion to approve.
Second, and that's another thing John said. They were gonna try to meet before the commission meeting. He didn't have time to set a meeting up, so pending judicial approval, correct, Aaron?
Yes, thank you. I forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
Miss Tammy from the Election Commission is here. I'll start, and if you have any questions, or she's welcome to take over if she'd like, either way. But basically, she got a grant for $221,957 that's going into to buy, what are we buying, Tammy? Voting machines?
So more equipment for 2024.
Okay.
Because we've grown since 2016 and did want to come and ask you guys for some money. So I've worked over a year to try to get this money for the commission.
Yeah.
Tammy.
Good job, thank you.
Yeah.
Any match?
No match, right, Tammy?
Nope,
No match.
Motion approved.
it's a total of $221,957.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
This is money that, I put in the wrong line in the budget. It's in the right fund, but, we're moving it into site development. This is for the sewer sleeve. So basically, we're just moving it from one line to another. So that's all this is,
At Station 10.
section two.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? How can anybody be opposed?
The,
Why am I asking that?
the property assessor, who I also noticed was here tonight, he needs $3,589, he's got it coming out of his data processing fee account, putting it into motor vehicles. And, he has most of the money, he just needs a little bit to finish it out.
Motion approved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And last, at the EMA meeting last night, as far as budget amendments go, we do have something else after this, but as far as budget amendments go, the last one, WEMA is requesting $80,000 to add some offices to their headquarters.
This will get Mr. Chief Hobbs out of the closet, right?
I will go with that.
I mean,
You trying to
the
get-
closet, the storage
So
room,
you trying to get him out of the closet?
the storage room.
You're on TV too?
Oh, well. Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
At EMA last night, they also requested to declare some items surplus. This is being brought to you because they carried them out to be sold at auction, but they couldn't sell them because you guys hadn't approved the disposition of them yet. We hadn't declared them surplus, so
Oops.
these will be sold on gov deals.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Have it.
And that, I believe, is everything that we have.
Get out of town.
Okay.
Not good.
No, you couldn't, we wouldn't be having your business.
Last month, I was hoping, is the mayor just not gonna be
I
here?
know, I texted.
I didn't hear, he didn't tell me today, so he may just be running a little bit behind, but,
Tommy said not gonna make it. No kidding. And I didn't hear from the other guy. So this is it.
Okay. Last month, we discussed some issues with AFT, and there was a motion to put that discussion off till this month, so that we could get some questions answered possibly. But the people that asked those questions are not present. But I'm gonna go ahead if, maybe the mayor will come in. Cause I've sit down with him a couple of times this month talking about certain things related to AFT, as well as a resolution that's out there that's causing some heartburn with some people. The resolution that for our citizens out in the county, outside the city limits, has to build a house. If they want to build a house, it has to be on 2 acres or more. Mike, before I ask that question, I want to explain what I'm looking for, tell you the truth. I'm looking for us to rescind, I'm hoping to rescind that resolution in favor of upping our AFT. And Mike, I think you had some conversation with attorneys. How did that float?
I had the discussion with one of the plaintiff's attorneys yesterday afternoon, I guess it was, following up on a couple of other things we've been talking about. And he has indicated to me that the plaintiffs in that lawsuit are willing to dismiss their lawsuit if we will rescind the two-acre requirement. Furthermore, the plaintiffs are willing to support an increase in the adequate facilities tax as a trade-off. Now, they did not say how much they would support, and of course, the devil will be in the details. But to make sure I understand what I was told, they want us to rescind the two-acre zoning requirement. They will drop their lawsuit and support an increase in the adequate facilities tax. Now, all of those things, as I understand it, and we've not gone into any details or anything like that, but all of those things would be contingent upon each other. In other words, one can't happen without the other, so.
I mean, they wouldn't support one over the other. I mean, it's not that we, as a commission, we can do whatever we wanna do here.
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
but, no matter what they want, but
But some of these guys that are the plaintiffs in a lawsuit, if not all of them, but at least some of them, are pretty active in the real estate world. And the fact that they are willing to discuss, because as y'all know, real estate agents always fight that. But if they're willing to support this, and that, I don't know how much support they have behind them, but I suspect at least one, perhaps two of them are pretty influential. So, that's all, I don't have any more details than that.
okay. You know, one,
Can I speak to that, sir?
yeah,
The 2-acre resolution came out of planning and zones, and, we weren't aware of that. I think it needs to go back to planning and zoning.
well, okay. Some of the things concerning AFT, you know, if we do increase AFT, that's gonna be a plus for both the general debt service and capital project funds. And it could help out with, you know, we mentioned last month, there's a possibility it could help out with the school, if we wanted to make improvements at Lakeview or another school. But to be honest, at this point in time, the school board has not, or the director has not come to us with a request concerning making any improvements at Lakeview at this point in time. But other than that, we're gonna have to address, sooner or later, we're gonna have to address the women's station out on 109. It is our oldest station, and it's lost a certain amount of land due to the widening of 109. If we build the judicial center, these funds would help bring back capacity that would go toward our next large expenditure, which could possibly be a high school or a middle school. Also, as the mayor informed me, there's been some talk with the road commission about possibly using some of these funds to address some road needs. As you well know, the county doesn't build roads, but we can contract with outside agency to help out with some areas that need to be addressed. You know, and I would think that everyone understands as time moves forward, the building capacity in the general debt service and capital project will always be a necessity for a fast-growing county. And there might be a lull in the building right now, but it's not gonna stop. And the only reason there is a lull right now is not because of AFT, it's because of the economy. And I would bet you know, going back to the 2-acre deal, I would have, since the majority of the buildings, whether it's homes or apartments, is taking place within the city limits. It's not taking place in the county, not very much of it anyway. And this is, since this resolution has come about, I would imagine there's a possibility we're even, as a county, we're even losing money because they have slowed down some building in the county. Mayor Hutto put together for me, I assume he got with Aaron to do this or somebody else, to look at what has, looking at the past and looking at the averages concerning AFT. And as of right now, it's pulling in about 12 million, 8 million going to 151 and 4 million going to 189. And if we raise the AFT 70 to 7,500, going with the same averages, I think it's for the last 5 years, Aaron, it would bring in an additional $3,126,000 to the 151 and 1.7 million into 189. And if we raised it to 10,000, oh God, if we raised it to 10,000, our new construction, using the same averages, would bring in an additional 7.8 to 151 and around 4 million to 189 for a total of $11.8 million. Building for, he also gave me some data concerning what is occurring currently in the buildings of homes and apartments. Lebanon, if you pay attention to the report that comes out, Lebanon has been just hotter than a firecracker here lately concerning homes and apartments, much more so than Mount Juliet. But for this current year, even though Lebanon's still outbuilding Mount Juliet by a long shot, Lebanon is down a little bit from last year, and well, it's on the pathway of being down a little bit. And Mount Juliet is gone up a little bit. Watertown has stayed about equal, and the county has gone down a little bit. If we do, and because the building of homes and apartments has gone down a little bit here lately, and we have received fewer funds from the AFT, bringing it back up to possibly 7,500 could replace some of those funds that we have lost over the last, year to 18 months. So that's my little spiel. So I'd like to get opinion from y'all two first.
So kind of want to rewind back a little bit. This is all kind of starting with the conversation of the lawsuit that we're currently in, correct?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
yeah.
And we're being,
Well, I think there's been some discussion here over the years about raising the adequate facilities
Sure.
tax, but this time it's driven by the lawsuit.
okay, so we're being held to fire with this lawsuit. Currently, what we did, obviously, with the lot size. So they're wanting us to rescind this, and then they'll be obviously in favor to approach the AFT.
Yeah. Diane, Jane?
I think it's gonna be hard to catch up with, 6 months. It's been 6 months since we did this. And in the meantime, your interest rates are going up. I don't know if we can catch up or make up. Maybe we can, I'm not, don't have Aaron's numbers in my head, but I don't know. Would it take 13 or 17?
It'll take 17 to, no,
Just raising the rate.
raising the rate takes 13. 17 to, rescind the,
Would you rescind or would you amend?
you could amend, you could, play with words on that. I think what you gotta do here is settle, if you're serious about this, is settle on the amount that you're gonna go with, and then see if these guys are serious. See if they, they may not control anybody out there, but the fact that they,
Eat lunch together.
yeah, and have approached with this proposal,
Mhm.
but nothing's guaranteed, of course.
I voted for the 2 acre deal, and I, quite frankly, don't know why. And, to be perfectly honest, and, I had certain people to ask me to
Okay, here.
vote for it, so I did support it.
I told you it was the other time.
But,
We should have stayed away.
I'm not sure, based on how it came to pass, I'm not sure we properly advanced this resolution with it, the way it came up, at the commission meeting, and, because if I understand it, that's not how it was originally approved. And then we brought it back up, at the switch resolutions there at county commission night. Yes, sir.
That's not true. It's not correct. Exactly what was presented to the planning commission and exactly what they originally were brought to be considered was exactly what was approved.
Correct.
So that's not true. There is a pending lawsuit and we are recording, and I don't think we should say that because it isn't true. The state law, as I understand it, requires that the planning commission consider. It doesn't give them the authority to tell us what we have to approve. If that were the case, you could filibuster any zoning ordinance amendment endlessly by sending it back and forth to the planning commission. The reason the law is written that way is for that reason. And so I gotta disagree with you here because it's gonna affect our lawsuit if we keep on going down this path.
But maybe I said it wrong, I apologize, but it was not approved by the planning commission.
And it doesn't have to be in
I know.
PCA.
I understand that, but it wasn't what the planning commission sent to the committee, right?
That's true.
Okay.
True.
It's open for discussion, y'all,
Here in the consideration of that, there were 2 meetings plus a workshop,
Mhm.
so it was well considered, in my opinion. And it was to try to preserve some of the countryness, ruralness, whatever the proper term is of the county. True, the AFT needs to be raised, but it's a different time, but that shouldn't affect the 2 acres. It shouldn't affect us remaining as a rural county, or at least some of that.
Let me
Yeah.
just give you some data about AFT and where we are as of October 31st. So for the first 4 months of the year, we have brought in $2,705,503 of AFT. So we're 33% of the way through the year. This is actually 22.5% of what we've budgeted for the year. So we are brought in about 10.5% less than what we budgeted for. So we budgeted for 12 in total. So that's where we are with AFT. Now, if you go back and actually convert, you said 11.8 million if we went to 10,000
Which we're
for
not.
AFT, is
Yeah,
that right?
11.8.
11.8, okay, keep in mind, I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, no, you're-
Okay, so with 11.8, so Penny and property tax right now brings in $677,000 a year. So AFT to make the 11.8, that would actually, if it is an equivalent of 17.43 cents of property tax. So that's what you're looking at. Does that make sense? So, yeah, so the $11.8 million is equal to 17.43 cents of property tax. If we're able to actually bring it in. Now, again, we're 10% off so far this fiscal, but if the economy does rebound,
And it will.
that's what you're looking at.
And it will. Somebody else, anybody that wants to speak to this, I appreciate your input. Yes, sir.
One of the problems with the AFT, ever since I've been on board, and this is my third term, but Aaron has completely reminded me and everyone else on this board that the AFT is not a recurring revenue. It's just not. And I think we're discovering why. And it's 22 years ago today, interest rates have been this high. You have to go back to 35 years to get them up to 10%. We could be on the way to 10%. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because in 2001, when interest rates were the same as they are right now, the average price of a new home built in Wilson County was around $100,000. So if you go to the bank and you try to borrow to build a $100,000 house, which is $75,000, you gotta borrow that money at 8% or whatever, 7% right now. Today, the average selling price in Wilson County is $500,000. So go try to borrow that now at this percentage. And so even if you correct that for inflation, it makes it very difficult on the front end for developers to go get money. So if we raise the ag facilities tax to $20,000, I don't think it's gonna make a bit of difference, because it's like throwing lawn chairs off the Titanic here. The iceberg is the interest rate, folks. And we can't control that in this little commission that we got here. What we can do, though, is we can make it more expensive for people who live in Wilson County and wanna build their first home or their second home, or the kids that you wanna move out of the basement in their starter home. See, it's gonna affect those folks. It's gonna affect a lot of people that are hunkered down right now. I mean, times aren't good, folks. I mean, car sales are underwater right now. I mean, you know, there's $250 million worth of defaults on car loans. People are letting their cars get repossessed again. That's how bad the economy is. It might not be in Wilson County, but that's what's affecting our AFT.
One more comment, Mr. Chairman, if I may. We're getting sued for doing what our job is what we're supposed to do. What the law allows us to do to go to the 2 acre, right, Mr. Dennis? The commission has the authority to change from 1 acre to 2 acre, correct?
I'll make the same comment that I made the other night with Commissioner Jones at the planning and zoning meeting, and that is, y'all have passed this, you got the necessary votes, you've been sued over it, and I'm gonna defend it, that's my job. Now, what the court tells us, I don't know, but I've got people in this commission that are telling me they want me to stand up and say we did wrong, and I'm not gonna do that for the client I represent. They want me to stand up and guarantee them that it's gonna be okay. I can't do that either. Anytime you try a suit, you just don't give a guarantee, you can't. But we're gonna defend it. And so, that's as far as I'm gonna go with it.
What I'm saying, I believe that we did illegal action, and what we did.
And that'll be my defense.
And I don't believe in making a deal with the devil over finances or somebody making a profit off it. I think we did the right thing.
That'll be my defense. We did what we had the right to do. I think the question is gonna come down to, no, I'm not gonna say it. It's going to. I'm not gonna say it. Because I'm sure the lawyers on the other side have already figured it out.
Now, you know, I understand that interest rates are higher than they've been. But for the life of me, it's kind of hard for me to believe that somebody who can afford a $400,000 or a $500,000 home is going to make a big deal out of an additional $2,500 or $5,000. I don't believe that.
I don't know if this helps, hurts, or what it's worth saying, but if you'll recall, The last time this issue came up and went to the floor, the proposal was to raise it to $7,500. It didn't get the votes. Then we went to $6,000, and it got amended down to $5,000. Now, I think a good argument could be made based on that it certainly didn't slow down any building.
Mhm.
That was in 19 though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
18,
it
was
was.
a while.
It was. But just think of what if you stayed with your original
Mhm.
plan.
I agree.
Mayor, you have any input?
That'd be worth it.
Giddy up, come on.
I really don't. You know, I think all the points are good, but I really don't have a recommendation either way. Yeah. AFT can't be something we bank debt off of,
Right.
but I'd give you, like you asked for, the things that are coming down the pike that they could help replenish, and I'm sure you've read them to them already. Capital projects is still doing pretty good at about 14 million right now, and debt service is about 27, I think, which we think is high, but it's really not. We need to keep it where it's at or build it. But I really don't, I'm gonna let you guys work on this one.
Anybody else have anything they want to add? Yeah,
I'm not opposed to it, but like I said, we're already 10% less at this point, 4 months into the year compared to where we should be. So even if we raise AFT, I'm not 100% sure that it's gonna actually help us increase our margins. Does that make sense?
So
No.
I'll counter you on that one, and we
Okay.
probably could go back and do the history and find out when the AFTs come in largely. Of course, right now, as Bobby said, they're off because of interest rates, not
Right.
because of pricing. That will either level out or it could go higher. But it probably won't affect where I build, and they're gonna continue to build here, as Mike said, that ain't gonna stop. And so
Oh,
those numbers will continue to come.
I think you misunderstood what I was trying to say. My point is that we're not, because of interest rates and because people are not building as much as they have been, we're not bringing in as many AFT payments as we have in the past. So, I don't think going up a little bit would actually affect the number, to Wendell's point, but
Not even in
yes, but I don't know if because of the interest rates, and if we do end up with the economy, going in a situation where we have interest rates going higher, I don't know if it's going to help us a whole lot. Does that make sense? So, over time. But it all depends on what the interest rates look like, and if there's actually more houses that are brought out of the ground. And none of us can actually predict that.
So permits today are on the average rate that they're on right now, adjusting the first quarter, saying they stay like that and they don't improve. Mount Juliet will go up a little bit because they were down. Lebanon, which has been really hot, is gonna be down some. Watertown will stay the same, and the county will be down a little bit. I don't know if that's related to the zoning that we've changed or what, but that's the prediction that we have right now with looking at the first quarter numbers compared to if you multiply that times 4.
just out of curiosity, what was I'll ask that in a minute. Go ahead, you had your hand up, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Whenever we did raise the AFT back in
19, I think.
2000,
It was 19.
2020, whatever year it was, we also raised the commercial AFT. And the 5 to 7,500 is only addressing residential. What if we take a look at increasing the AFT on commercial business?
I think we just did.
We just did.
Just earlier this year.
In like January, February this year.
They're all equal now.
Well, it's
Yeah.
been a year.
They're all the same.
Where they match.
We've only brought in $125,000 in commercial AFT since the beginning of fiscal. Just to get a data point.
What was the primary reason for increasing the building lot size from, to 2 acres?
Stop growth. Answer it.
To stop growth?
Try to maintain the rural culture, if you will, more so.
But out there, you're driven by water. If you've got water, you can get a step. You don't have water, you can, we didn't really fix anything. We didn't. The cities are what's causing your growth, both of them.
Yeah, if I remember asking Aaron, what was the number of how much did growth come in? Was it 14% in the county alone? That's
It's
all
12,
it was?
wasn't
Was
it?
it 12 or 14%?
12 to 15 over time
Okay.
has been the county's growth.
So
And
we
the cities were what? I know you know.
Yeah, I got it right here.
I know you know. That's what's filling your schools, that's the 2 cities.
and this is
Yes,
kind of where I'm
ma'am.
going home.
Commissioner Smith?
In
So-
regards to the lot sizes, so we keep referencing the A1 2-acre lot sizes, but that resolution increased all the zoning, so are we only considering the A1 zoning, an amendment or a change to that, or is it all the lot sizes that we changed, we would want to
I think all we're looking at is that 2 acre.
only A1?
Yes, ma'am.
So to answer Commissioner Smith's question, over the last 5 years, 60% of the growth has been in Lebanon, 26% has been in Mount Juliet, and 14% has been in the county,
Okay, so
over the
that-
last 5 years.
So what we did, obviously, is affecting the county alone, not inside the city.
Right.
So pretty
That's
much if it
correct.
was inside the county, we've pretty much, and the reason why, that night I asked Aaron, I remember, Aaron, where's our AFT? Is it down or up? It's down. Okay, so if we do this and pass this, it's gonna pretty much cut us in half on our AFT. He said, correct. So now what I was going with that night was now we're playing catch up. We're playing catch up with AFT in order to pretty much offset what we did.
I'm not sure the two are related, and if I said that night, then I misspoke, and I apologize. Because, I mean, obviously, if we were to double the lot size on 14%, that would cut your AFT in half, mathematically.
Just on the 14%.
Just on 14%.
Not on the rest of it,
Right.
on 86%, yeah.
Right. So, if I misled you that evening, I apologize. It would definitely have a negative impact of some kind. But I would consider that to be minimal. We could have raised AFT earlier. We're talking about we did it in 19. I think what you have to recognize is you caught lightning in a bottle. I mean, if you look at the growth that happened in the 5 years since you raised it, it's been astronomical, And it may have been, we may have been able to do it a few years before. I'm just saying, whatever you do tonight, I don't know that it catches you up on AFT, because I don't know I don't know that it has a great impact on whether people build here or when they build here. If a developer comes up to me, and I've had developers as clients when I was in public accounting and whatever else, and I have nothing against developer, but if a developer comes up to me and says, I'm not building here because y'all are charging this much, I don't believe them. Because quite frankly, they're gonna build where the demand for housing is, and the demand for housing is here. Okay, so they can go build in Smith County all they want to. If nobody wants to live there, they're not gonna go build there. But the interest rates, has been said several times, and other economic factors, that's what's hampering the housing market at the present time. It's not even as expensive as the houses are. I mean, I've been blown away by that for some time, and we've still seen this thing continue to climb until very recently. So it definitely seems to be the interest rates, and eventually people will either adjust to that, or the interest rates will come back down. I don't know. I mean, I could almost as easily predict to you the date and time of my death as I could predict to you as exactly when, and what will happen with AFT.
If you
Yes, sir.
could, they'd be looking for you nationwide.
Yep.
So, one point is, the lawsuit states rescind, which if we rescind, we can't stipulate what we rescind out of that. That's all the zoning that we made changes If we were just making it to A1, we would have to amend.
Right.
According to the lawsuit, they're still gonna go through with an amendment. They want a full rescind. On another point, I'm not backing down off the decision I made, off a vote I made a few months ago, because somebody's decided to sue us.
Amen.
We made a lawful action, I'm gonna stick with my vote. Am I still for AFT? I was for AFT a year ago, and it got shot down to the commission. I have no problems with considering AFT, but I'm not gonna back down because somebody's going to threaten to sue me.
Amen.
Here's my thing, when we did that, I just think when we changed it, we cut into our AFT, we affected it in a way. That's what concerns me.
We did exactly that, but we should have raised AFT several years ago. We're behind them.
About 2000.
Haven't we? Sir?
We should have done it about 2005.
Well, I agree with that too, absolutely.
It took a long time to go from
But
2000 to 5,000.
The thought though, again, to stop growth or to slow it down, it's really hard to
They
use
will
that as a-
continue to
as a-
slow growth down,
what,
to stop it.
The, question was asked about when you did the 5,000 for industrial, that's February this year.
This year.
The increase on the residential and everything was done in 2019. I hope I said Larry West, y'all remember Larry? Is he deceased now?
I think so.
Yeah. He brought the resolution to raise it to $7,500, and then it got shot down and got down to 6, and then amended to 5.
When?
What,
Pretty
What
West.
year was that?
no, I thought
Pretty
Teeny Rich,
West.
I thought Rich was.
Oh, that was, the 2019, we got it up to 75,
correct?
We went to 55.
and it was
That was
It was
proposed.
our
It can't be
Commissioner
included.
Glover that brought it back down. Was that not right?
I
Yeah.
don't remember, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can,
It's
can,
right.
I think you're
can we
right,
ask the
yeah.
finance director his recommendation? I put you on the spot in case you don't know, so.
When
What's
is
your
it?
recommendation? Based on other counties around us and other growing counties.
Recently.
You know, what I'm hearing is tonight's discussion is not centered around raising AFT for a revenue thing. Tonight's action seems to be more centered around a suit. So that being said, I don't really wanna make any comment about whether or not we should make a change based on a suit. I leave that to y'all's, discretion. I don't really know anything about the suit. That's not something that the county attorney shares with me. So I really don't know anything about it. Y'all know more about it than I do.
What are other
I didn't
counties
know
around
about
us,
that.
do we know?
Sir?
I was just asking. what-
Yeah, we've got some of that information, Jerry, but I haven't looked at it in a while. Most of them at this stage already are, with the exception, I think we talked about before, Williamson County is the exception. With the exception of Williamson County, I think we're above everybody else, I believe. Because, you know, they've all pretty much fall under the County Powers Relief Act, and they're very limited in what they can raise and when, how much.
Well, there's very few counties out there that have in writing what we have.
Correct.
The tool that we have that was put in place several years ago, 2003, is a great advantage to us. There's no question about it. When we need to go there, we have the ability, whereas a lot of people don't. There's no question. I
It's
wouldn't argue
not-
that for a second.
There's other counties out there that would, if they had the tool, they would for sure have a higher rate than what they currently have.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Do we know if other counties around us are also down on the number of permits that they've granted? And so in turn, how much they.
Didn't Russell County just up theirs?
It's
Right,
going
so
into the
my
rainy
point
part
is
too.
that the raising the lot sizes is not why we're low on our AFT collections.
No. That, like the mayor said, that only affects about 18% of what's going on.
But it is down, just in our meetings with mayors and the regional, it's down across the board. And everybody says it's interest rates.
So the only way that would have an effect would be if a developer came in and looked at 100 acres and said, okay, previously I could have built 100 homes on 100 acres. now I can build 50 homes. Therefore, it's not worth it, and that's why that has an impact. But again, in the broad scheme of things that we're talking about, you're talking about a pretty insignificant impact.
I'll give you another, for instance,
Yea or
this is
nay?
my Watertown map.
Okay,
The way it's set up now is gonna spur annexation. We in Watertown, y'all talk about no growth, but we had a proposal 3 months ago for a 3.2 acre lot right there on the city limits, but in the county. They could only get one, perhaps two lots out of it, but if we annexed them, they could get
oh,
32.
yeah, that's right.
And they wanted to be annexed really bad.
Oh, sure.
Every city that has those properties on their borderline is gonna be faced with that.
Yeah,
Yes, they are.
And we voted it down at Watertown. I won't give my opinion on that either. But I voted with the majority.
oh, the
I'm
majority
just gonna
vote.
say, the majority voted not to accept it.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
But it's gonna drive annexation,
it is.
but only to the extent that that property touches your existing city
Mhm.
limits.
And that same thing's in effect in the Mount Juliet area.
I was gonna say Mount
Right
Juliet.
now,
It's already there.
Mount Juliet changed their subregs to not allow any more density than 40,000 square feet in their urban growth plan. And they got the authority not to subdivide anywhere below that. So our ordinance was in conflict with that by going down to 25,000 square feet with the step system or sewer. They're requiring their sewer to get higher density. Well, what is that causing? That's causing people out there in the growth area to ask for annexation. That benefits the county. Takes completely off our liability ledger with respect to roads and things like that. So it is a positive impact, the way it went through, in my opinion.
You under a time constraint? Can you go another month?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I was asked to approach them and I did. And that's what I presented to you tonight, is what I've got.
But they didn't
So-
say, tell me Friday, right?
No, they did not say that, and, again, we've talked in theories and not in details.
That's exactly right.
So,
Where you
But
think,
it-
Mr. Late?
at some point in time, they'll move the lawsuit forward.
You need some protein and carbs.
Set that little jingle on. That's been working now.
What is the next step on this lawsuit?
And the next step on this lawsuit would be for us to get ready to go to trial. And it will be I don't think they've asked for a jury trial on this one, so it would be a judge trial. It's not ready for that yet, Mr. Chairman, but once it starts, it can move fairly quickly. But right now, the law is, I was asked this Tuesday night as well, the 2 acre provision is in effect. It's not been stayed, there's not been, a request for an injunction or anything like that. So it's the law right now.
So,
What court will it go to?
I'm trying to remember which one they filed it in, Jerry, I'm sorry, I don't remember, but I'll get that for you.
say we didn't prevail, what is the cost to my taxpayers? What liability, any liability?
No, it's not really a suit for damages, it's a suit for, to strike down what we did.
To do what?
So,
Yep.
but there is no piece in there that says if they win, those people that lost money, we would make up the difference?
No,
Cost us court fees.
no. No, there's no provision in there for that.
Good.
So I'll go back and reread it.
Yeah, I thought I saw that, but I may be wrong.
Oh, that's in them other two.
Process.
I may be wrong. That was my
Hope
word.
you are, but I can't say for sure, but I
Yeah.
don't
I don't
remember
think
that.
it was.
Cause that, yeah.
Aaron, what did Tom mean tonight when we passed that? He said that revenue would drop 15%. The question was asked, how it would affect our revenue. He said it would affect it by dropping it 15%. When we passed it that night, but That's what he said.
I think what he was saying, Commissioner Denton, was, you know, the 14% would be affected. I don't think he was saying it would drop 14 or 15%, but where 14% of your growth is, would potentially be affected. I don't think he was saying it would drop that much. Again, worst case scenario, if you take the interest rate out of it, you have half the capacity to build on that you previously had. So worst case scenario, if that's where 14% of your money comes from, then, you know, you're talking about 7%. You're talking about a 7% drop, worst case scenario.
So you cut yourself in half.
So,
Potentially average we brought in.
well,
Cutting yourself in half.
it's hard to, look,
Is it, that's
you
basic
could say,
math.
I don't
Cut
think you're
yourself
going
in half.
to, but you could say, I'm sorry, Mike,
Yeah.
you could see next month, somebody could decide to build a large apartment complex, and all of a sudden we go from being, you know, let's say 1.7 million down to $3 million better than we were the last year. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it could. And it's a very unpredictable revenue source. You know, trend-wise, the trend that we're seeing right now over the last couple of years, fiscal year 23 was lower than fiscal year 22. So far to date, 24 seems to be coming in below 23. So you're looking at a couple of years where we're looking at a decline. But again, that can change, you know, it's gonna depend on, you know, I think what everybody said the same thing. I think what's slowing it right down so much right now is just interest rates, and maybe just some uncertainty that people
Gonna
have.
get worse.
So going back to what Aaron said earlier, just after, in 2019, the number of permits, that's everybody, including Mount Juliet, Leavenworth, Watertown County, was 1,324. In 2020, from 19 to 2020, it was 3,304. It went up 2,000. And then in 2020 to 2021, which probably was COVID, it went down to 2,690. So not a lot of drop off, but maybe 500. And back to 21, 22, it picked back up at 3,300 again, like it was in 2020. And then last year it was 2,400.
Yeah.
So,
I think what Tom's comment was, loss of revenue, Commissioner, was based on the fact that the AFT stayed the same. The AFT went up with it. And the volume stayed up, and it would be, you know, wash pretty much.
well,
I don't remember what we projected, but the first year we raised AFT, we raised it in the middle of the year, effective, I think, in January. We may have made the raise before then, but I think it was effective in
Everybody raised it in
January.
November, it was effective in January, you
Yeah.
had a big rush there for about 45 days.
But, you know, we thought it would be a while before we saw the increase kick in, but it really wasn't. As he said, you know, that you just turned right around and you had 3,300, which was a big increase over what it was before. So let's put it, as you mentioned, the raise in AFT didn't seem to deter anybody. That didn't seem to be a determining factor in whether people were running out to build houses.
You know, when we raised it in November, made it effective January 1, we said that night, they're gonna wear this office out
Rush
here
it
the
on.
next day and start.
Yeah, it did.
Anybody that wanted to build, because your building permit's good for a year, anybody thought they was gonna build for a year, went ahead and got their building permit.
Yeah.
And missed out on that increase. We missed out.
And where we're, again, where we at, 10% down from what we're projected?
So right
As of
now,
today?
we're 33% of the way through the year, and we brought in 22.5% of the revenue that, for the year.
2.5%.
Now, we're at 500, and I was actually just doing the math. So, for the first 4 months, we brought in, there's been 524 permits pulled in. So, that would be, if it stays consistent, we'd be looking at 1,572 for the year. Now, of that, as we're sitting here talking about the county, 92 of those permits were county residential. There's 4 commercial for the county, so 96 total. Comparative to, 341 permits for Lebanon and 87 permits for Mount Juliet. And that's where I've seen the most decrease, actually, is Mount Juliet permits have been really low comparative to to what we've seen the last couple of years.
They're running out of road.
So, yeah.
For people to
I mean,
travel.
yeah. I think they got a lot of lots approved, but not a lot of houses started.
Traffic is horrendous.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I live there.
Well, relating to AFT only, not relating it to anything else that has been discussed. You know, it's based on what Aaron has told us, is that raising the AFT when we did not hinder, it did not hinder the growth of our county in the way of apartments and homes being built. The only thing that has slowed it down is economics. And knowing that is, do we approach no matter what we think about the lawsuit, do we approach raising the AFT as of January 1, or does it need to be tabled completely? And that's to anybody out there, not just the committee.
Need to raise it.
I mean, I've 3 or 4 people have said, go ahead and raise it, but, yes, sir.
I remember when we raised it to 5,000, or initially 7,500. I voted against it, and I was the only one that voted against it. And I was approached at church on Sunday, said, why did you vote against the AFT? I said, I didn't vote against the AFT, I voted against that AFT. I said, what we're doing is putting a Band-Aid on a fatal wound. I said, we're gonna be readdressing this within 18 to 24 months, and what are we doing?
Well, Mr. Smith or Diane, would either one of you want to make a motion to send this to the full commission?
No, sir.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Today.
All right.
Chairman, you can bring it up on the floor if you want to.
Sure can.
Yep.
Well, it's a consideration. Okay, is there anything else that needs to be brought before the budget committee? You have anything, Mayor Hutto? Okay. One other? You can make this motion.
Well, motion to adjourn.
There you go.
Knock on the table.